Hi everyone, in this tutorial we will learn how to get parameters from elements in Revit and how to export them into an Excel spreadsheet. So let's start opening the first Revit file inside the lesson 1 folder. In this file we have 7 rooms. Each of them has a unique number from A to E, and the parameters that we want to access from Dynamo are the number and the area. So let's start Dynamo, which is in the add-in tab. If you are working with Revit 2017, Dynamo has been moved to the Manage tab. Okay, so on the left side of this window we have the command for creating a new empty script to open an existing one, or to create a custom node, which we will see later, but basically is a collection of nodes into a cluster. On the right hand side there are the tutorials, the help files, the link to the forum and other GitHub and other references. So let's start with an empty script. Dynamo has a workspace window on the right and toolbar, as a standard toolbar at the top, an icon on the right that exports the workspace as an image. At the bottom left corner there is the execution bar, which has 2 different options, manual and automatic. It's normally better to select the manual execution, which means that the code will run only when you press run. In this case you will prevent unexpected crashes. The most important part is the library on the left of the window, in which there is a list of categories that can be accessed, and in each category there is a list of other elements, that other nodes that can be selected. So if you open this subcategory and you click on an item, this node will appear in the workspace window. You see on the right corner there is a background 3D preview, which if you click allows you to navigate the geometry preview, and if you click with the left button of your mouse you swap back to the graph or node view navigation. You can zoom all, zoom in, zoom out and pan. Each node has an input on the left and an output of the right. Inside the node is stored the function. So in this case this node gets a face element and it provides the edges of this face. If you right click on the node you can remove it from the canvas. You can create a group. When you create a group and you right click on the outside the node, you can change the color, you can set the font size, and if you double click you can type something. You can drag around the node if you click on with the left button, and you can freeze the node. We will see later. You can remove it from the group. You can preview, switch on and switch off the preview, and you can access a little help file which includes a brief description of what this node does, and more important, it tells you what are the inputs that this node reads and what data type it needs and what sort of output it gives you. Okay, so it's a good practice and it's easier to start from the what we want to achieve. So in this training we want to write some data into an Excel file. So if you type right into the search toolbar at the top of the library, you will see a list of nodes. If you click on the last one, which is write to file, write data to a Microsoft Excel, you get the node that we need. So this node at the moment is it gives you an error. It just doesn't give you anything, because first of all we need to add all these inputs that are specified on the left side. So let's start with file path. You just type the name of the input into the search toolbar, and if the node exists, like in this case, you can click on it, bring it to the workspace. In this case, you can select the file that will be in which we'll export the data, and then you click with the left button onto the arrow and you click on the name of the input in order to connect the first node with the second one. If you click again on the name of the input, the wire gets disconnected. If you click anywhere, it just disappears. Then you can bring it back with the left click. Okay, sheet name. If we search for sheet name, we don't get what we want, because this sheet name, as you can see here, is the Revit sheet. What we need here is the name of the worksheet to write the data to. And if you notice on the there is a second line of text which says string. So if you type string, in fact there is a node which is the node that we need, and in here we can just give the name of the worksheet that will appear in Excel. Start row is where is the first cell that we will use to export the data, and in here this one is an integer. Again, if you type integer you don't find the node that we need, but as you know, integer is just a number. So if you type number, then you get the correct node. So I want to place my data in the first row, which is starting, if you start counting from 0, as the Dynamo does, the first row will be the row number 2. And if we put, again, first column, the first column will be column B. Let's leave data empty for a moment. Override is a Boolean. So a Boolean is a particular data type that can only have two status. It can be either true or false. In this case, we want to override everything is in the Excel worksheet. So we say set Boolean to true. Okay, let's get the data. In order to access a parameter in Revit, in a Revit instance, we need to convert that element into something that Dynamo can read. In order to do that, we need to go to Revit, Selection, and these are the methods that Dynamo can use to access families, instances, types, categories that are in our Revit file. So the easiest way is to use select model element, which basically allows you to pick the element that you want to convert into Dynamo. So if you click on select, you go back to Revit view, and you can see that you can select walls, for example, tags as well, and the one that we want at the moment is rooms. So we click on room, and this node, the node changed color, so from yellow, which tells you that this node has something that is waiting for an input. It changes to the normal color, and at the bottom there is a number, and this number is the ID of the element that you have just selected. If you want to check that, you can go to Manage, you can go to Select by ID, and if you type the number and press OK, the element gets highlighted. Okay, so again, we need to access the parameters. So basically, we need to get a parameter. The interaction with the elements are under the elements category, and the parameters are stored in the element subcategory. So the one that we need is get parameter value by name. So let's move this around. This node needs an element as an input, which we already have, and a parameter name. Parameter name is it says that it's a string. So if we type string, and in here we type number, which is the name of the parameter that we want to obtain, and we connect the output to the data input and press run. It will export the number of the room A basically into Excel, into the first row and first column, starting from 0. Okay, so what if we also want to export the area of this room, we can select string and get parameter node, do a Ctrl+C and Ctrl+V, change the string to area, and connect the output to data. And when we run it, now in cell B2 we get the area of our room. Dynamo doesn't allow you to have 2 wires into a single input. So in order to export both number and area at the same time, we need to create a list of items. So if you type list create, this node allows you to put together more items, single items, into a list, into a combination, into a collection of values. So if we run it, you see, we go to Excel, both number and area have been exported. When you create a list, Dynamo gives automatically an index to each item. In this way, you can always get an item from a list, which is get item at index, and the index is this number which is in front of the items. Index in this case is an integer again, so if you type integer, if you type number and you leave 0, you will get our item A, which is the number. If you type 1 and you run it, you get the area. If you type 2, you don't get anything, because the index was out of range, which means that this list has 2 items, and this node cannot find anything at index 2. So you get an error. When you get an error, the node changes color, and you get this pop-up note at the top, which is warning, operation failed. Okay, so let's try to combine the 2 strings that we have here in a single list. So we can remove one of these 2 elements, get parameter, and just use one. If we create a list of number and area and we put it here, now we don't have an item 1 and we don't need this node, basically, and we connect this one. As you can see, we get both number and area for the room 1 using a single node in a much quicker and short way. And in Excel you get the same. Okay, so what if now we want to export the number and the area of all the rooms? We need to use select model elements, which does exactly the same as the one that we used before, but it allows you to select multiple elements, multiple items in Revit. So let's first isolate the rooms that we want to select. We go isolate. Let's go back to Dynamo and do select. Go back to Revit. throw a window, and now you see that what we have from in this node is a list of items. Sometimes you can, most of the time, you can visualize the output, the preview of the node from this bottom right menu that appears when you leave your mouse near the right bottom corner. Select model elements doesn't have this function, so you need to use what's so-called a watch node. If you connect elements to watch and you run it, you see that you got a list. If you do the same with the single item that we had before, you see there is no list, there is no index, because the index is 0, so you don't need it, and it's just a single item. If you click on this number, which is the element ID, Revit zoom automatically to the element inside the view. Okay, so let's delete model element and let's connect our list to the get parameter value by name node, and let's run it. Okay, this is not what we are expecting. We are expecting a list of all the areas, all the numbers of each room. In fact, what we got is the number of the first room and the area of the second room, and nothing for the rest. This is due to what is so-called lacing. So lacing, which can be accessed by this bottom right corner, has three options: shortest, longest, and cross product. In the shortest option, it combines the first item of a list with the first item of the second list, the second item with the second item, and then it stops. So if the two lists don't have the same length, so the same number of items, some of the items will be left out of this combination. Longest list, in this case, it will match the first item with the first item, the second item with the second item, and then it will keep matching the second item of the first list with all the items of the second list. So if you do it in Dynamo, longest, run, you get the number of the first room, and then the area of the second room, and the area of the third, the fourth, and all the other rooms. The last option, the one that we need and we will use, is the cross product, which allows you to obtain both number and area from each row. So if we right click, lacing, cross product, run, and now we have number A, and this is the area, number B, and its area, all for every room. And in Excel we get everything. In the next lesson we will see how to import from Excel and import data from Excel, because for example you can just do some operation with these numbers, and how to apply those parameters, those values, to Revit parameters and update Revit families.